And the lady responds and says, "You're not going to believe this." She went, "I took all the rocks over the forest, except one."
Not that one.
And the next morning, it was in a little bag in a boat, wrapped up on my daughter's desk.
Oh, how beautiful.
It's been by my bedside ever since.
Welcome to Guide to Spirituality's podcast with me, Stacey Bauer. It's a down-to-earth space where we talk all things spiritual. Each episode, I'm joined by guests from all walks of life to share real experiences, practical tools, and honest conversations about healing, growth, and the unseen spiritual world. Whether you're just starting out or you're deep on your journey, this podcast is here to support your path with insight, connection, and that little bit of magic. Today we sit down with Scott Harrison, who is a celebrity PT, a Sunday Times best-selling author, and the founder of the Six Pack Revolution. He's also a follower of the Law of Attraction. Today's conversation is one held with care, love, and reverence. It's about a baby boy named Evan, whose time on earth was brief, but whose presence and soul continued to echo through the lives of his parents in powerful, unseen ways. This story is of love, loss, and the quiet miracle that comes when we listen with our hearts. So today we have the amazing Scott Harrison with us. Thank you for joining us today, Scott.
Thank you for having me.
So your story is a story of loss, hope, and just about every emotion that a parent could go through. If you would, can you take us back to the start of when your story began, please?
Yes. Okay. So this was a curveball in our lives. And it began where one night, me and the wife, we didn't protect ourselves, and we found ourselves pregnant on this very one only night that we didn't protect ourselves. And we already had 2 children, so we were not planning on having any more children. But here we were. Now, when I tell this story, some people are negative towards me, but I'm going to tell you how the experience I had and what we were thinking at the time, just to be totally honest with you.
Yeah.
So we were now trying to decide, what do we do? We had 3 holidays booked. Just telling you, I'm not saying that baby's life's more important than a holiday. I'm just saying this is where we were. And we were not planning this at all. And obviously we do know how the birds and the bees work. Just one of those things. So we were going backwards and forwards in our heads. Oh, should we do this again? And then we actually kind of wrote down a list of pros and cons. There were no cons. The pros were we had, the family. We could afford it. We had the room. We had the love. We had everything that was necessary, really. So there was no reason really to turn off this light that was coming towards us.
Yeah.
But for some reason we wasn't, right, we're doing it like this, you know? Excuse me, when I get emotional, I start coughing. Forgive me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we carried on with our lives. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? We kind of cancelled the first holiday, and we can get away with it. We cancelled that one. And then my daughter was having a assembly. They were just, like kids have assemblies and stuff. And we were invited to go and sit in and watch them do their show.
Yeah.
So we went along to that assembly. And I said to my wife, and I don't really know why, it just came into my mind, clear as day. I said to her, let's ask the universe for a sign. And she's gone, oh, you and your blooming well universe, signs and stuff. And I said, and the sign is, if we see a blue tree, we're having the baby. And she said, well, we're not going to see a blue tree, aren't we? I went, exactly. So if we do, we're having the baby. She went, all right. And we actually shook hands in the car on it. So we go to my daughter's assembly. We watch the show. It's great. And they said you could go back to the kids' classrooms, see their books and sort of sit with them for a bit, which we did. And then we were all asked to leave. And we was all asked to go down a different corridor than the one we came in at. And I don't usually go to the school stuff because I'm working. My wife does all that stuff. So I've not been in this school any further really than the foyer. And definitely not this bit, because this was around the other back. And the back was like we'd been, steered in the right in the direction to in and out.
Yeah.
We're walking down this corridor, and on the left-hand side of the wall, there was this Eco Save the Planet display. And it took up the whole wall, and in blue painted hands was the biggest, bluest tree you've ever seen in your life.
Okay.
And I just froze, grabbed her wrist, and I went, Vicky, there's a blue tree. And she went, like, our hairs were up on end.
Yeah.
I lifted her up off the floor. I span her around. And I said, we're having a baby. So, went home, decisions made. December, we put 3 pairs of slippers on the fireplace because we hadn't told the kids yet. They're all like, what's this little tiny pair of slippers? And God, I didn't think I was going to cry that quick. Boil back.
Go on, I didn't pick up my set off that quick.
So we told the kids at Christmas, and they wanted to choose the name, so we said they could, and I think they'd been watching a TV show or something, and they chose the name Ever, which we loved, actually. So we decided that was his name, and we were, because we still had my younger son's baby seat.
Yeah.
High chair type thing.
Yeah.
We would pull the high chair towards the table when we ate and pretend that Evan was already here.
Yeah.
So anyway, we carry on. We go for the first scan. Oh, sorry. No, I've gone a bit. So before Christmas, we go for the first scan, and my wife is 100% sure. Oh God, I'm missing it all.
It's all right. It's because you got your orders this time. Go back.
Yeah, I'm gonna backtrack a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyway, we go on the first holiday.
Yeah.
That wasn't the one we cancelled. We go on the first holiday to France, south of France, and my wife finds a baby shop, like massive, great big department store, just babies, a bit like a Mamas and Papas type thing.
Yeah.
But massive. And they've got a big sale on. You know what ladies are like when it comes to a bargain, right?
Absolutely.
So I'm outside waiting, just working. And I go in when she's about to go and pay. And she's got a whole trolley full of clothes, right? And bits and boxes. And I said, so what are you doing? She went, I'm getting stuff for the baby. It's amazing. I went, what if it's a boy? She went, it's not going to be a boy. It's a girl. I went, no, you cannot know that. It's a 50-50 chance. I said, put it all back because we can't even come back and change it. It's in another country.
Yeah.
So she goes, all right then. She puts it all back, but keeps a few bits because her cousin was also having a baby anyway. And we knew that was going to be a girl. So she said, worst ways, I've got some gifts for her.
Yeah.
Anyway, now, obviously, you guys know that it's a boy.
Yes.
So Vicky then cries for 2 days for the girl that she's lost. All her emotions all under play. She's pregnant.
Yeah.
Then we get our head round it, or she gets her head round it, that actually our son, our eldest is a daughter, son's middle. He's played with a girl all that time. He's more likely to play with the younger one.
Yeah.
She's become a teenager now and all that sort of stuff. So maybe a boy's a great idea. He gets the best of both worlds.
Yes. Perfect.
Then they called him Evan. We're back to where I left off. And we are, as I say, we are just living like he's already with us. Then we go to, this is now way over halfway through the pregnancy. And we go to the next scan or whatever number scan we're at the time. And we go in, she's laying down, she's got the gel on her belly and the lady's doing her stuff. And I'm obviously facing the lady, Vicky's facing because she's on the bed the other way, right? And I saw the lady's face. So my heart's going. And she goes, I'm just going to go and get a second opinion. So someone else comes in and confirms that he's dead.
Just like that.
Yeah. We'd had 2 babies before, healthy family, because my job is health. I'd lost all my faith in the law of attraction. I'm saying, I didn't create this. I was bringing his chair up to the table and putting slippers on my head. But obviously my head, I'd never seen my wife have a panic attack before. And she's like, she fell to the floor off the bed and was just kind of just sobbing. And we then get taken into this room that was for situations like this, if you like. And we're waiting in a room and someone comes in to see us and explains that she's got to have a tablet to induce her. This was on a Wednesday, so that 2 days later on the Friday, she can give birth. So she has to go through, I was like, I can't even help. Like, she has to go through all this pain of labor and give birth with no happy at the end.
Yeah, knowing that it's a bad situation.
Yeah. So we come home, and they had someone religious there as well that, come and spoke to us. So we come home, and for 2 days, can imagine, she don't want to let him go. Like, she's kind of in her head wants to hold on to him because I guess when she lets him go, the reality is going to be there, right?
Yeah.
But obviously, she's savvy, so she knows she's got to do it. So we go to this, to the hospital, and there were 2 rooms for this type of delivery. So you've got a big ward, and there's 2 specific rooms. So they take us into the room, and on the wall was a massive big blue tree.
No.
Not going to see a blue tree, are we? Now, I was just like, what? At that moment, I realized we were always going to end up here.
Yeah.
Because the minute we acknowledged him and the minute he left, there's a blue tree.
Mm.
So specific. How could I have made this up? And I told the nurses and stuff, and they were like, what? So I rang my friend, Tracy Higgs, TJ Higgs. She's a medium that's used to work with Colin Fryer. She was on the Psychic Detectives and on the TV. She travels all over the world, Japan, everywhere, stands on stage. She's a medium. Many will know her, people that watching. She's a friend of mine. Never get a reading off her because she knows me. I say, well,
that's it, yeah.
And I said to her, look, I know I don't ever ask you anything. I said, but I've got no one else to ask really that I know could maybe give me some answers. And I told her what had happened and where we were. And she went, give me a minute. And so, they say they're tuning in or whatever they call it. And she went, what a clever boy.
Mm.
You can't, if you look at the tree in the ward, there's 3 birds flying away with this blue tree. And actually, the leaves of this blue tree are kind of look like they're coming off the branches, but it's blue. And she said, "He's your 3rd child. And in his previous life, he didn't get the love that he needed to move on. And you set him free." Because of how much love you showed him before he was even here. Yeah. And that's why the 3 birds look like they're flying off free, and the leaves as well. So we give birth to him. We have half an hour with him. We give him a kiss and a cuddle and spend a bit of time with him. And then we had to obviously go through the funeral, and just me and Vicky. We didn't bring the kids into it. We just said,
No.
and that was kind of it. We start to move on with our lives. The following year, exactly on his birthday, the exact day of his birthday, my wife's on Facebook, never goes on social media at all. She's not interested in it. But she's on Facebook for some reason, on my daughter's classroom group where all the parents are on. They have like a Facebook group. And I don't know if you remember, going back a few years now, there used to be this thing, God, I'm snotting everywhere. There used to be a thing called, should put some tissues, magic rocks. And what it was people would paint stones.
Yes, I
Remember, they take them over a forest, local. It was all like everywhere. It was a bit of a craze. And now the kids would go and find them and photograph them and put them on the social media.
Yeah, I remember.
Little craze. This woman, the mum, one of the mums, who's really hippie, actually, really like proper hippie type. And she'd be thinking nothing of walking around with daisies in her hair, like really proper.
Yeah.
Very kind of. She'd painted some rocks. And one of the rocks was a blue tree. She just posted, taking my rocks over the forest tomorrow. Da, 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 da. So the next day, I'm like a man possessed. I walk over the forest near us, and I'm looking a good couple of hours. Can I find any stones, let alone this one? So I come back and then thought to myself, oh, do you know what? Maybe it's not even this forest. I've just assumed it. It might not even be in this forest. So I said to my wife, will you do me a favor? Will you ask, can't remember her name, where she put the rock? Tell her why and all that sort of stuff. And she went, I don't know her phone number. I went, but social media, you can just message her through there.
Yeah.
So anyway, she does it. And the lady responds and says, you're not going to believe this. She went, I took all the rocks over the forest, except one.
Not that one.
And the next morning, it was in a little bag in a boat, wrapped up on my daughter's desk.
Oh, how beautiful.
It's been by my bedside ever since.
Hi, I'm just taking a quick break to thank you all so much for listening to the podcast and for all your lovely support. If this episode gave you something to think about, or simply felt helpful, you can support future episodes and my tea habit over at Buy Me a Coffee. The link is buymeacoffee.com/guide to spirituality. Every little bit helps me keep creating, sharing and growing this space, and I'm truly grateful. Oh, I love that.
So,
And that were his birthday.
on his actual birthday.
His actual birthday.
How?
You can't do that. If you can't explain that, that's not a coincidence, is it?
And as you'll see, this looks exactly the same as the one on the ward wall.
Does it?
It's like she stood in front of that in that room and painted it. It's like,
Ended it.
yeah, it's so look, whether I'm right or I'm wrong, somehow I feel he managed to send me something physical.
Absolutely. I truly believe that.
Because it's too precise.
Yeah.
We're not going to see a blue tree, are we?
No.
They were everywhere at every poignant moment.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So my message of hope review that I took from it was, we always think that the things that happen to us or because of us, but maybe this was all about him.
That's exactly how I feel about this.
And we were blessed to be able to step in and help him where he needed it.
Exactly.
And because of that, we now wanted another child. A couple of years later, we had Jasper, who I have to tell you is literally an angel. All my kids have been really good kids.
Yeah.
This little boy just is unbelievable.
Is he very sensitive?
Sensitive, in fact, all my kids are, but sensitive, clever, advanced, his vocabulary, but he never complains about anything. And it wouldn't surprise me if one day he brought home a blue tree.
Yes.
Because it could be him. Because we took 2 years to fall, and I'm wondering if maybe he came back, but he just needed a time.
A little bit.
And as a thank you to us, just was the best kid that you've ever known.
That is, honestly, I'm choked. I can't.
And that's my story of my boy with a blue tree.
So how long ago was this?
This is about 5 years ago now.
5 years ago.
5 or 6 years. Well, crikey, time flies, doesn't it? You blink. Because of COVID, it's like...
That's it. But there are loops somewhere there that we've all disappeared in, aren't there?
Yeah, we kind of love it. Might be 6 years coming up. Might be 6 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you then? So, like, you hear, you get the news, you're all excited, we're having another child, we've obviously got all the signs, we're supposed to be having this child. And then, you go for a routine scan, and I'm sorry, there's no life there. How do you then, from having to give birth, which is another traumatic experience on its own anyway, but then to find that actually there's going to be no child that's living at the end of it, which is what you've been working for, to then start to move on each day? How do you then, I've never lost a child, how do you then get up each day and go, well, actually, we're going to have to start? I mean, you've still got to be parents for 2 other children that thought they were getting a sibling. Well, how do we start?
What I'd like to say, first of all, is that, and I know this is hard to believe, but I've been through it, so not the other end, but I'm sure it's worse. I think there are levels of loss. So our level of loss wasn't like someone who's got a 2-year-old and loses.
Yes, I see what you said.
Or a 10-year-old that loses them. So I think our level, although it's sad and emotional and apart from the beauty of the messages that we've got and that I specifically got, it kind of came to me. So I felt like she had him for that capacity and I had him kind of this somewhere else. And obviously I'm never going to lose that. That's always going to be with me. And it's always a wow, and not many people will experience that, or maybe people have experienced it but haven't seen it. Don't connect with it, or won't even be open to see it. So all those people that have been in my position, I would say to them that maybe you did a good thing for someone, and it was necessary to help others. So I think, yes, it took a bit of time as a curveball, something we wasn't expecting, but because of all the other things that was surrounding it, we kind of felt proud, and there was a collateral beauty that was in the sadness, which I think helped us move forward from it. And
Definitely.
I'm really glad now, because they offered us to spend time with him, and I was like, I don't think we should do that. I mean, I was like that, but my wife was not having any of that. She would, no way. I am definitely seeing. And of course, she's right. But when your emotions are all over the place, I was a bit scared of it.
Absolutely.
I was a bit afraid.
That's it. Yeah.
And when you've had children, you have this maternal, paternal instinct. I mean, you literally die for this thing. You don't even know it.
Yeah.
You would jump off a cliff to save it. Even though you don't, like that's like this. Well, for most people anyway, it's like a natural thing. I thought it would be different in this scenario, but when I set eyes on him, in fact, it could have been even stronger, because I just felt so sorry for him. But I still had this light inside of me that we did this for you, mate.
You see, I believe very, very strongly in like pre-birth contracts or soul contracts that we make before we reincarnate. And I believe fully that when babies don't go to term, or they are lost, or they die after birth, I solely believe that we've arranged that with the parents. So we've all chosen each other on purpose. So your son has picked your wife to be his mum and you to be his dad. I truly believe that. And actually, it's for your journey as well as his own. And when your friend had said that he was a very clever boy, I immediately got an old soul. I feel like he's had a few lives before where perhaps, things had been different. Do you know what I'm saying? I feel like his brief incarnation it's been agreed on a soul level. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I get in my job, because I'm a big believer in the law of attraction, and I believe in lots of different things. And then one of the arguments to the law of attraction that's always thrown at you is, well, so did my child who's got cancer, did they attract that to them then?
Oh, right. Yeah.
And I said to him, look, it's a very emotive subject, and I don't know. Well, none of us know. We can feel, we can guess, we can assume, we can pray, but none of us really know. But the way I try and understand life, which in a lot of ways we should just live it and not try and understand it too much, is that maybe if we do come back and have an experience to become all knowing and all experiencing as an energy, then if you imagine life is a bit like a university and you're going into lectures. So you come in here for this life and you're going to learn this bit. And in this bit, you'll have many ups and downs, because if you didn't know what a down was, you wouldn't know what an up was.
Exactly.
If you didn't know what good was, you wouldn't know what bad was, and vice versa. So for us to actually feel everything or feel the good, you still have to know the bad. So when you'll know what really was good is, And so that's how I kind of tell people that my thoughts are maybe that you have to experience that part. That's the part of this lecture that you're coming into. Lecture.
Yeah.
And maybe that pain that you're going to go through is a lesson, a learning, something. I don't know. I could be wrong, but
No, that's exactly how I believe it.
to try and make sense of it, because what is the sense in bringing a child and then they're gone in a couple of years due to an illness or something? Or there is also the fact that we are human beings and we are a complicated, the amount of gazillion things that has to go right to come out with everything perfect is a miracle in itself. So very easily, if one thing goes wrong, that could just be nature, and that's what happens. But this blue tree, and I have no idea where it came from. It was just in my head, and I spoke it out.
There. Yeah.
Just before we went and see the blue tree as well. It was on the same day that it, and then to end with it was something that was pretty spectacular. And I hope your listeners get some comfort and, as I said, hope in my story.
You see, the thing with the blue trees, I always say I run development classes, and people that are developing will always say to me, well, how do I not just made it up? How do I know? Like, my dad's passed, but I swear he told me something last night, but it's probably just me making it up. So I always say the same. Ask for something that you're never going to get. So what do you mean? So I asked for, like, I don't know, a purple frog with wings or something that is, you wouldn't see it. It's not there. Unless you went and looked for it, like on the internet and whatever, it's not there. And I had a lady a few days ago, she'd asked for something, and it was like on back of a bus. It was an advert on back of a bus. It was something where she went, well, I want to see, I'd never see that. It's not possible. So that's when you always know it's spirit. So for me, that is unarguable that that's from your son. Absolutely believe that 100%.
Yeah.
But just to go back,
and that was while he was
still inside.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So he's give you that while he's alive to let you know that obviously when he's passed, that's my time for you. There you go.
Yeah.
I've got a feeling you'll see more of the blue trees.
Yeah. We have seen a couple, but we haven't associated them, as such poignant moments. So these were specific moments as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Now that he might just be chucking them down, just
exactly. I think he's giving you like, I'm still here. I mean, one of the things that past loved ones do when they pass is they still bring you things that would have meant something to them. So because obviously he's never been able to grow and say, well, my favourite colour's blue or I like that tree, is giving you it now as that. But just to go back when we were talking, when you said that, people say, well, why did my child choose the cancer or what have you? I believe that our human selves wouldn't pick a lot of what happens, but our spirit self would, our soul self would, because like you said, we're learning. We're always evolving. We're always learning. But the human part of us doesn't understand that, our spirit self needs these traumas to evolve.
Yeah.
So, totally believe that.
Yeah. Well, and I hope, as I said, I hope all your listeners get something from it.
Just one more thing before you go. Did you find, just as like, if anybody's going through what you've been through now, if anybody's going through it, did you find that you got help somewhere? Were there anywhere where you thought, do you know what? I found this really helpful, or there were this particular website or anything that you think, people should know this?
They offered us, it's very, very sweet, because when he was, when he was born and all of this happened, they gave us a little gift package, which was a little teddy bear and all this sort of stuff to put in the coffin with him. All that sort.
Yeah.
And I think they were, what were they called? Something hands or sands. Forgive me. I should know. We didn't take up we didn't take up all the offers that we had of some counselling and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We managed ourselves, and I think the whole Blue Tree thing helped us, to be honest.
Yeah.
And so we didn't actually go for any counselling, but it's always offered. And I could let you know, maybe I'll go and ask. Ricky will remember more than me. But they were really nice people in the hospital, and it was all done really well. And
Yeah.
I couldn't fault it really.
No, that's lovely. Thank you so much for sharing your story with me today. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank
I
you.
hope, and anyone else who's been through that, just remember, maybe it was not about you, and maybe it was about them.
That's the thing. It's not about you. Perhaps it's about the soul that you've helped.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You are very welcome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for listening to me, Stacey Bauer, on Guide to Spirituality podcast. If you enjoyed this chat, feel free to follow, share, or leave a review. It really helps. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and keep showing up for you. See you next time.